All right, it's 5:30. I'll call the order of the Macedonia Planning Commission for June 19th, 2017. We have a roll call.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Poser?
Here.
Mr. Westbrooks?
Here.
Mr. Schiavone?
Here.
Mr. Koblenz?
Here.
Okay, pretty good echo tonight. All right, first item is the approval of the May 15 meeting minutes. That was our very quick one. Ask them all. Does anybody have any comments on the minutes? Not. Someone make a motion?
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. All right, just let the applicants know our planner is running late this evening. We do have his comments. He'll be here shortly. There's a couple of them that I want to make sure that he is here for when we get to them. So the order of the agenda may change slightly as we go through this, but hopefully he'll be here before we get to one of the ones I'd like to have here. So the first item is IDR Fujikura, new signage on Bavaria Road. Someone here for that? Well, let me take a quick look. Do we want to? Yeah. I say we proceed anyway with this one. Sure. Because we're not in a hurry to blow through the first couple items. So, would you mind going through reading Brian's comments? This one just to have it correctly.
Sure. Says the applicant is requesting a wall sign on their building located at 8271 Bavaria Road. The 1.46 times 8 square times 8 foot, 1167 square foot, will be placed above the entrance door to the building. The sign is comprised of individual letters that are colored dark bronze. I have reviewed the sign for compliance with section 1179.03 F2 of the Macedonia Planning Zoning Code, which permits 2 square feet of identification signage for each lineal foot of building frontage. The applicant's building frontage is approximately 120 feet, which provides them with approximately 240 square feet of identification signage. Based on the requirements of the code, the signs can be approved as submitted. If you have any questions or need additional information, please feel free to contact me.
All right, everybody's got the plan. Does anybody have any comments or thoughts on the sign?
I personally didn't have any questions for the person who was going to represent him, so I'm good as presented.
Yeah, it seems like, Chris, you got it. Seems like the sign fits in well. It's not huge. It's not crazy or anything. It seems like the appropriate size is correct. Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'm welcome to approve as presented.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Well, that person left out.
What happened to us?
Yeah. The next one is Champion Windows on Freeway Drive. Is there someone here from Champion? Come on up. Let's see here. This is for a non-lighted wall sign. Brian has comments on this as well. Sorry, do you mind?
No.
Read this again?
I don't mind. I had to get my glasses. Okay. It says, the applicant is now proposing only one 4x8 wall sign previously 2 signs on the building located at 9011 Freeway Drive. The property is zoned G1 General Industrial District. The property contains 2 industrial buildings, one with frontage directly on Freeway Drive, and the other building being located behind the first building, fronting on Freeway Drive. The tenant space for this proposal is located in the back building with limited visibility from Freeway Drive. I have reviewed an updated sign application, including a sign rendering and tenant space configuration dated May 24th, 2017, in connection with this request, and offer the Planning Commission the following information for consideration. Section 1179.03F2 of the Macedonia Planning and Zoning Code permits 2 square feet of identification signage for each lineal foot of building frontage. The frontage for this tenant space is approximately 99 feet, which provides nearly 198 square feet of identification signage. This application was discussed in 2016, and at that time, one of the main concerns for the request related to not knowing the total permissible sign area for 2 buildings. The applicant has now provided the total frontage for the entire building, 231 feet, in order to determine the total sign area permissible by code. The submitted information also illustrates that the existing business, Expert Gasket, in the building does not appear to have identification signage. Given the updated information provided, I believe the request can now be approved as submitted. If you have any questions or need additional information, please feel free to contact me.
Thank you. So are you, your name?
I'm Brian.
Okay, Brian Chase. Are you with the sign people? or you
Yes.
with- Okay, so yes. Okay. So you guys have any thoughts on this?
What is the material of it?
It'll be aluminum with graphics, printed graphics on the face. And mechanically fastened foundation. There's no identification to show what door. They've got a couple doors there, and when you get back there, everybody's lost. And where to go. So if they even get back there, because there's nothing up front really to tell them that either. That's the main purpose of it. So,
I think it's been brought to the attention a couple of times to consider it. Why doesn't it sign up?
from what I understand, that parcel up front is owned by another. It's not the same landlord, so that's what the problem is. So they're gonna work through that.
Does anybody have any thoughts on this? The only thing, I talked to the mayor for a couple minutes, nothing wrong with the sign, but yeah, this building has no, looks like, at least with the picture, and there's only maybe one other sign down there at the end. There's not really much on it, there's no real standards, and it's not really ever been a problem. We may, through the building department, contact the landlord and ask them to maybe set some kind of standard, which maybe this is the template, let's say, with the materials you've used, like things like that. We can ask just so we get some kind of consistency for anybody else coming in forward, just to keep the looks as best we can. But that doesn't really impact you. Size-wise, yeah, you're well under what's required, or what's the maximum amount. Does anybody else have anything? They want to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the application.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you for your time.
Next one is NPG proposing construction of a new loading dock on Laurel Hill Parkway. Get your names for the record.
Paul Kaczmarski. Any questions for our officer?
Sorry, Blackburn.
All right. For this one, why don't you guys give us a little overview of what's going on with your planning?
Okay, well, the old building's been there 20-plus years. Originally used house steel for the Chrysler plant. Old steel came in, they were all dispersed as the stamping was Blackburn purchased the building 7 years ago. I worked with them in a previous life when they moved their shop into there. And then since then, since they have moved over to Pastor and they're looking at leasing this out, we've worked with a couple of their tenants and now we're working directly with them. They're looking to do, this is the side of the building which faces Bennett Supply. We're looking at adding a loading dock and man door over on this side. It's going to be about this position. The man door will go in the bay that's between existing overhead doors and the first structural tank. Got cross bracing in there, so the door will go centered on that cross bracing. The next door, the next bay, we're looking at putting a recessed loading dock with 2 doors in that and associated drainage and a pumping station to take, like we did with the previous loading dock, which was here, which was done in 2006, 2007, I believe. Pump the water from that over into the stormwater system that's handling both facilities. That's it in a nutshell.
It was a heavy steel facility and they just relied on docks because most of it they could take across their docks. And now that we've sectioned it out, some of these lighter steel users like BGH Steel that we brought in, and this new steel company, they have used for a couple docks. And we had put this one in for Hitachi back here when they had moved in. Now what we put into it,
We do have. I'm sorry. We do have comments from the planner. Sorry, Dan.
It's okay. It says, the applicant is proposing to construct a recessed loading dock on the south side of existing building located at 8190 Roland Holt Parkway. The new dock will be located adjacent to the parking area and green space area between the 2 existing buildings. The property is zoned limited industrial. I have reviewed a site plan dated May 2017 and offer the Planning Commission the following comments for their consideration. The request is a very simple, and the proposed dock and doors will match what currently exists on both buildings. My only concern relates to the use of compacted gravel to accommodate the turning movement for trucks. According to section 1171.11E4A of the code, all driveway areas shall be hard surfaced bituminous concrete or concrete, free of dust and drained approximately beyond this issue. I believe the request can be approved subject to the gravel turning area being paved with a hard surface. If you have any questions or need additional information, please feel free to contact me.
Okay, thank you. And Joe, you had some.
Yeah, thanks, Chairman. I did have some comments, and I'll summarize. First one is that the submitted plan actually shows that gravel turnaround to be across the property line onto the neighboring property, but I see that the applicant's already provided some additional information showing that they have an access agreement to do that work, so I think we're good there. My second comment was the same as Brian France regarding the gravel. Third was really just for the benefit of the owner, not really a requirement. The plan shows a 6-inch storm sewer. Typically in a parking lot situation like that, we would use a larger sewer just so it doesn't clog as easily because there's leaves, twigs, and whatever other debris would be out there. So if the applicant wants to upsize it, he can, as that could only help him. And the last one I had on here probably is more of an administrative review, but that would be to see a detail on the retaining wall for the loading dock. I don't know that we need to have it for Planning Commission purposes here tonight, but for final administrative approval, we would. And that's all, Chairman.
Okay, thanks. All right, guys, what do you, comments or questions you have?
The only reason we had shown gravel there is because where this turnaround is, if this whole parking lot is gravel existing. That's why we had shown it that way. That parking lot had been there for probably as long as the roll hole facility was there. And this was just, majority of it, when the trucks pull in, they'll be able to use that shared easement in the gravel area to back in. But they thought possibly when they swung really far out, if you had a full length 54 foot or something like that, you might just go a hair into the grass there, whatever they showed over here and that, which was 12 by 18 or whatever they thought. There was a possibility when they swung out, which, when you stand there and look at it, I watched these trucks pull out of this dock right here and they barely even touch this pavement here. And this is, a narrower dock that was put in here. So that's why we showed you this graph. If you guys say it has to be a hard surface, we'll pave it, but it just was a shame to pave just that small area when you've got this huge parking lot here that's all gravel that it's attached to. That's why we showed it.
So you're willing to pave it if we think it's a good idea, or
You think
according
it's a
to
good
our
idea?
ordinance?
Right, if you tell me that's the way it needs to be, then
No, I didn't read the ordinance, but I guess
we'll do it, but,
Every time our ordinances require hard
Right.
surface rather than gravel, period.
right.
So each time something comes up like this, when there's a renovation or
Sure.
something like that, then we try to
Yep.
slowly, rather than pave the whole thing at this time.
Right, this is all gonna be hard surface here, we've got pouring, so if we have to pour that over there, we'll pour that as well.
Can we do this administratively if they?
Yeah, I think so, yeah, they agreed to here, they can check it, they come back. I think that was the only little comment, you guys have anything else? Oh, yeah, if you guys are willing to do that, that would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, we're willing to do that. This is a very good company that's coming in, they're an international company, so we have expectations for them. They have 8 or 10 locations around the country, so they're a very good addition, and that's
Good,
for
good,
a lot of these
it's good to
companies.
have a spot filled.
And this facility now is totally occupied.
Oh, right.
You're moved out of that.
We are occupying the Pastor Court facility, and we're filled that 100% with us.
Very good. Great. Anybody want to make a motion to still digging in a little here?
Motion to approve. Just one. I don't know if it shows on your drawings here or not. The dock itself is going to be reinforced concrete or masonry?
It's going to be reinforced concrete.
I don't know
Four
if it shows
walls
on
is
there.
correct.
Yes.
Correct, yeah, it's all 4 walls up.
Yeah, 12-inch floor wall, larger foundations as the grade changes is greater.
I didn't mean to steal any jokes, but I know he's probably going to see that.
Yeah, he has all the details when they turn them into.
Well, I didn't know if it showed masonry or concrete.
Gotcha.
As long as we get, I don't know if it.
Yeah, we didn't show at that point, construction drawings will show for concrete.
And I think he brings up a good point about the size of the drain, too. You may want to look at that.
The pipe on the construction drawings has been upsized to 8 inches.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, motion still hold?
Approve administratively.
Yeah, with the notes from Joe.
Okay, good. Okay, and we'll make a second.
Okay.
All right, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Thank you
good,
very much.
thanks.
Thanks, guys.
This may be where we might want to shuffle something. The people for cost office warehouse here, is that you guys? And Bob Evans, is that your? Yes. Here. Do you guys mind if we do a switch and pull them up first? Bob Evans, why don't you come up? Okay, so Bob Evans, are you, your name?
Robert Furr from Grow Enterprise.
Okay, is that, Who is that?
I'm a subcontractor for Bob Evans.
Okay.
Yes, so the subcontractor did it.
So I don't know, Chris, do you know, or anybody know, like, the history of what went on with this one? Because I know some things kind of went out of order. Ellen, you might be the one to kind of give a update of what, how the city.
Yeah, I don't have the date, but noticed that they were changing the siding on the building and was asked to go out there and stop any kind of remodeling. And everything is white right now. I know that they did finish, even that they were ordered to stop any other renovations. It's all white. I know that everybody likes the white building. But,
I like it too, actually.
Okay.
and now we're waiting, yeah, to see if they're going to be able to change that to red or not.
before pictures?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, before pictures?
It's the same concept. We changed there was no change in any structural other than the siding.
Just the sign.
The red top and it was gray bottom. They're wanting to put it back to the traditional Bob Evans red. Red top still and the bottom will be red. White trim.
Why did they go to white in the first place? See, Bob Evans all seem to be red. Well, why did they, this particular one?
Well, this is just this here is an upgrade. They're trying to upgrade the siding on it, and the architect, this is the new concept they have. They change them from one day to the next. I'm not sure exactly why they do that. To answer your question honestly, but 2-3 years ago when they did a full-scale remodel on these, they were originally red, and then they went red top, gray bottom. So now they're wanting to go back to the red bottom. So
I think for everybody's version, what it is right now is not how it was intended. I think they're going to put it the siding that gets painted.
I subbed out the siding work, and under my understanding, he was full permits to do what it was supposed to do. I got a call that he didn't do it. I come by, he got the proper paperwork, filled out the forms. I went ahead and filled out, paid all the fees, and then he did put a stop work order on it when that initially went down. And it was on a Friday. They told us that they could finish. There was a 4-foot section right up here by the parapet to finish. That's how that finish got done. Well, then of course they said, you know, we don't want to, do your permits and stuff, and that led me to here, which we, paid the fees, and which it was my fault that I didn't contract that at the beginning, check. I subbed that out on the contingent that the contractor was supposed to. It was in his scope of work to do this clinic stuff. So, I mean, I myself personally take responsibility for that because I dropped the ball on that, but I also paid the fees and, trying to get back and I wasn't trying to skate out and doing hiding or, it was a misunderstanding. We've done several of these. Most of the time it was like for like. We didn't change the structure, so this is something new for me as well. It's a learning process. The siding that we took off was James Hardy siding. The siding that we put back was Hardy siding. The only different changes that were involved was the top is what they call board and batten, and the bottom was board and batten. So it was vertical. This is the same stuff. It's just thinner and it's just horizontal. The window trim was replaced with AZAC. It's a non-rock board. And what it has, it stands right now. It's a primer. It's not a white. It's just whatever the primer comes in Hardy board. So, that's, we're all complete with everything other than this.
So just for everybody's information, it was not intended to be the white or the off-white, whatever it is.
No, that wasn't my intentions at all. I mean, and like I
That's just
said,
the
I clearly
process
apologize for
was
the
stopped
process.
before
Right, that's just,
you got
that
to
is
the
the,
section.
that is the, what do they call it, the product prime. It comes prime, that's the primer product of James Hardy. So it's not, although it does look pretty decent prime, but it's not the finished color. I mean, that's not the intent of they wanted the white trim with the red side.
So now you just paint the panels red, is that what you do?
So now we do it, now all we're left to do is just paint it. There's nothing exterior, it should just be painted red. That's, as it stands on this print, that's what it was.
All Our planner did have some comments, and if you want, I'll give you a break and all.
Okay, if you want, it's okay.
All right. Brian Francis comments. The applicant is proposing a siding upgrade, including painting, to their building located at 266 East Highland Road. The property is zoned B4 Highway Business and is located in the Town Center District. The proposal includes installation of commercial-grade hardy panel, vertical siding, and trim. The colors will be corporate Bob Evans red and white. Since the site is located in the Town Center District, the architectural requirements in section 1172.03 of the code apply. Based upon my review of the standards, I believe this request complies. Given the location of the site in the Town Center District, highly visible Route 8 and Highland, a review by the architect should be considered. And that leads me to, there was a conversation I had with the mayor about this one, and just to kind of figure out what was going on, because things are, you know, out of order. But
Again, I apologize.
I understand.
I understand. I dropped the ball on that, and I can't live with you for that. I learned a good lesson on that.
But yeah, the city does not currently have an architect, and I think we've brought this up at some other meetings. In lieu of an architect, we kind of default to the mayor, which isn't very typical, but that's kind of goes on here for, especially for the town center area. He would really like to meet with Bob Evans' representatives, which could include you, but I think he would like to discuss the overall appearance of the Bob Evans, and asked that if we could table this and recommend a meeting with the mayor and Bob Evans. I guess, you know, the way with this town center, anytime, you know, if the town center has various pretty well spelled out architectural standards, that section, everything kind of around it falls into that town center district, including the get-go across the street, anything new that goes into the hotels all fall into that. And if something is not in compliance with the architecture of it, it kind of can just sit there, stay as it is. If somebody wants to make exterior renovations to a place, that's when the opportunity to review the architecture comes in. So I think he would like to request a meeting with Bob Evans, the owner, before we approve anything, if the commission so feels that would be appropriate. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on it.
Do you know what the mayor's concerns are? It's kind of curious to me what.
I think his concern is that it doesn't necessarily fit with the architectural standards of the town center. Town center and everything that we have in those regulations, which is, you know, brick and various, you know, not necessarily maybe the shape of the building, because that's pretty distinct, but you know, the materials, if you look at other Bob Evans, you know, Twinsburg was brick, and other ones that have gone, that are newer than this one. Not saying that that's what's going to have to be done, but I think he would like to discuss that with Bob Evans folks. So I mean, I think
We've had this before in that area with the buildings that were established there, the BP station across, wanted to do a renovation over there, and that didn't meet they had to change it, so they had to meet the standards.
They added some brick or something like that.
Well, actually, they declined to do the renovation rather than, but this one's already started, so we're kind of in a spot where they've already made the change. But this is not the first time we're having to go back to the architectural review and have a meeting to come to some sort of agreement on that.
So before, I guess, did you change the siding pattern at all?
The bottom, not the top.
So just the bottom?
Yeah.
So that'd be helpful to have a before picture, what the package is. Just so, because if he's putting on what he had on before, I'm not sure it's.
Just, what I meant by that was the same type of material, it's just got different, same brand of material.
Vertical siding and horizontal siding.
Well, the horizontal is, the vertical is 4 by 8 sheets on the side, and then in the horizontal is 9 1/4 by 8. So it's made out of the same stuff, it's just different cuts. Is how that actually applies. And the top was directly, looks the same, the bottom the top looked like the bottom, where it was up and down, and now it's just side to side. It did change the look, I'm not trying to hide anything, but, it did change the look a little bit, from the top to the bottom. Now, my question would be, can we put the same exact color paint on it that it was originally on the bottom and then same in red on the top? Would that be something you guys would consider? And then, my thing is, it's been sitting for 45 days without paint on it. And I'm not trying to, I don't know how it's primed, and it could be the exterior of the siding. And I'm willing to, Bob Revin's representative told me, as I represented, they said if we could put it back the same color, if the red is not acceptable, then the gray bottom would be acceptable for them. So I'm not sure, with the questions from the mayor, what he had for what that means, I'm not sure what the best alternative is. If we could put it back to the gray bottom as originally the way it was, then Bob Evans would be okay with that too. I don't know.
Yes, yeah, there's
So they're
a
not
line
doing.
between maintenance of changing stuff out and actually doing a revision to the elevation.
That's kind of my point. I don't know what the general mention is. They're not like putting pizza out there. Just the whole,
Right.
take care of the building. And this, is it just a maintenance issue or they keep the same colors?
Well, how soon would we be able to talk to the mayor and kind of see what his thinking is as the architectural representative?
He's not on vacation or anything right now, is he? As far as everybody knows.
So, no, he's here.
He is here.
That'd be the thing.
I mean, I would think if we could get a meeting go pretty quickly, I think he'd be willing to meet quickly. And then maybe we do a contingent, if the mayor comes to agree with it, after meeting with Bob Evans, that this plan is acceptable, we can approve it. If not, so we need to have another meeting to see what they would propose. There could be a mutual agreement. If that was listed.
No, I think the red color would be perfect, but if the mayor has something to do with stone, maybe in that area. I don't know.
The guy the contractor that I had put the siding on originally, he called and talked to the mayor, apologized to him for not getting proper paperwork and stuff like that. And this, he referred to me, now this is secondhand, he said that the mayor did not want the building to be red on the line. And I spoke with Bob Evans and I said, hey, when I go to this meeting, and if they don't like the red, we put the gray back on the bottom, and they'll let us proceed forward. Is that acceptable? They said, absolutely. That'd be fine with them, if they could put it back, it was a gray box. Red top, it was always a red top, and it was a gray bottom. So it would be just, the only difference in the look would be the bottom, and that's just vertical versus the horizontal.
I think it'll come back to another meeting.
Yeah, that's
Right,
what
it's
I-
only-
If they come to an
it's only
agreement,
something that
it's-
the mayor's gonna,
We approve it, we approve it subject to the mayor's.
Okay, I mean, I'm fine with whatever you guys want to do. I mean, I was just, like I said, the only issue that I have is that it's been 5 weeks and it's in front, so I'm just trying to resolve this rather quickly. Whatever, we don't get into it like it is in the city, let alone the primer, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, we're building shall be designed with some, but not necessarily all of the power. And that's probably the section of the code that he's looking at. The clapboard and the color is actually fall under the Western Reserve style, but there are some things that we can consider that if they pour off and they put the siding on, and you consider that it takes time to meet the other aspects of the code.
We don't know exactly what the mayor's thinking. You think it's that
Well,
section, but maybe.
This would be something that normally, like I said, something the architect would. If it was, yeah, then we would go through here and discuss these things with people, see what need to be accomplished. With that being said, the fact that horizontal roof platform siding is improved, I think we could go approval based on everything, or exactly that, subject to the mayor's, okay.
Yeah, so maybe let's.
Subject to review approval, not the mayor's.
Review.
So why don't we do something like that? Let's make, I'll make the motion here that approved contingent upon, well, the plan as it's shown, and do we want to give an option for the red and gray bottom as it used to be? Contingent on the mayor meeting with the applicant, coming to an agreement if, on that, if that is, agreeable, then we would approve.
Did she get that, I wonder?
Yeah.
So, do you have something?
I have approved contingent on mayor coming to an agreement with Bob Evans.
A representative, well, it's administrative review, it's not really just the mayor.
Administratively reviewed.
Administrative review, yeah, so that's something else.
In reference to the Western Reserve style. That's what it really comes down to.
That's that.
Administrative review of the Western Reserve.
It's a lot of red.
I understand, like I said, if it's the gray, it's gray. Like Bob Evans is, the fellows that I work for, Bob Evans, they just see what they say and get it in. So that's what I'm trying to do. I mean, if you want it's paint. If you want it gray, paint it gray. If you, whatever you guys want to do, I'm just trying to get some building, paint on the building and be done with it and move down the road.
This is, I think, the best fit.
I'm
You
fine.
need a second, do you?
Well, I just have approved contingent on mayor coming to an agreement, administrative review of Western Review style,
Western Reserve.
Western Reserve.
I guess there could be potential that they don't come to an agreement. But it does still have to come back. Hopefully that can't be.
My question is, how would that work?
I guess, yeah, I mean, you could probably call tomorrow, call the mayor's office and ask to set up a meeting. Maybe if you guys could give the heads up of what it's about over there, and I'm sure the mayor probably would work to accommodate, get you
Yeah,
quickly. It may be worth bringing the owner or someone, in case there are other decisions that need to be made, might be worth bringing them in. If it can come to a pretty simple decision, it's make it gray on the bottom, red on the top, and that's easy. But if he wants to make significant changes, the Bob Evans has to think about, then that's when.
Correct. I understand.
Then if you can't go to a review, then it may have to come
I'm
back.
back. I understand. I'm just.
Did you change the roof at all? Changing the side.
Just deciding. There's no, actually it was light for light on the top, it's the same patterns, the same style, same everything, and then the bottom it was the same material, and it just went horizontal.
That ironic as it is, the horizontal was approved as vertical.
Well, the horizontal was.
That's what's listed in the Western Reserve as approved, but not the vertical. That makes it difficult because it's a gray area.
Right, I mean, it's traditional Bob Evans red and
So you changed really nothing at the top of
Yeah.
it's not even noticeable other than the primer right now. It's the same, it was back, same way it was. And the windows none of the windows were altered, it was just AZAC trim that don't rot. So it was an upgrade.
Someone really gray area here, we don't have an architect here right now, so.
Yeah, I'm great myself. Just trying to learn.
We're both
I'm learning
learning.
with it. I just,
Yeah, if we approve it that way, we come to some agreement, it goes right on.
That's fine with me, and I'm sure.
And usually that works out.
No problem with it. If they have to come in, and it's not a problem getting them up here, like I said, all I do is make a phone call, special meeting, and they'll be, it's not Either way, just whatever works for all of us, and we come to a conclusion that works for me.
Before we just, we've got a motion and a second. Before you kind of jumped in the middle, is there anything you want to add to this? We read your comments. Anything additional you've got?
No, and I apologize for being late this evening.
All right, so motion and a second. It's a little strange motion, but it's on the table. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So hopefully that'll get you.
So I just call the mayor.
Call the mayor. Give them a little time in the morning, maybe give the secretary a heads up while you're calling and what you want to do. And
Would I get that information?
yeah, I think the website should be
Yeah.
mayor's office. I'll go to Macedonia. Google it.
I'll find it.
Yeah, very good.
Thank
All
you.
right. All right, so we're going to back up to cost office warehouse building. This is 824 Freeway Drive. Okay. Why don't you give us a quick overview of what you were planning, or actually, get your names?
Jeremy Hill of Cornerstone Architecture. Kurt Cost of Warren Roofing. Trevor Cost, Warren.
All right. Yeah, if you still give us a quick overview of what you're planning, and then we'll get
Sure. The building was purchased recently and with the idea of being able to use it for the same use group in business for the office portion and storage for the warehouse area. And the notion was to be able to take that building and make some new office build out inside. And we wanted to address an issue that has to do with the site. It doesn't drain well, so we look at, as a part of the application for a building permit, to show regrading the site. And additionally, to make sure that if changes in landscaping, taking out what's there, we're working the site so it drains properly, so that all stormwater calculations that are required to be submitted at the time of the permit would be appropriate then. As far as the improvements to the site, other than trying to take what was a poorly graded site, we wanted to add some parking on the side and a concrete paved driveway on the north side at this time, so that there's some parking that's closer to the building instead of in the rear. And we received a memorandum from the city planner regarding the zoning requirement for pavement. It wasn't paved before. We're quickly trying to make improvements in incremental steps here where we feel like it's going to make the building a better place. We would like to have parking in front. However, there's a zoning requirement doesn't give us space to put parking in front. So unless there was an agreement that we could do that, that's why we put the parking on the side. But not a high occupant load, being that it's an office, it's going to have about 5 people in it and a couple people in the warehouse. That's kind of where we're at.
Okay. Brian, you want to kind of give an overview or read your comments about how we're going to do it? This one, do you have a copy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I have a report dated June 11th regarding the 8824 Freeway Drive site improvements. As the applicant stated, they're doing some site improvements, and again, I assumed it was related to an occupancy at the time. Just didn't know what the use actually is.
Actually brought a plan that identifies who's going to be where for
So that was one concern I had, was related to the actual use of the building and not knowing what it was, whether it's permitted or conditionally permitted. The other relates to the general sort of condition of the site, the stone paved parking area, that back area behind the building is all, I'm assuming, asphalt grindings, broken up concrete, and so that area is shown as parking, which presumably is employee parking. The concern is that the code requires that to be hard surfaced, section 1171.11E4A. I'm sure you probably came across it.
Sure.
I do understand and respect that, you know, you're trying to put some investment into the building.
Right.
And so you need to get some income and understand that. What the planning commission has to work with is what the code requires, which is a hard surface for these areas where it's going to be employee parking, driveways. Those areas are supposed to be hard surfaced.
Sure, and not to interrupt, except that I wanted to explain that the notion was that we would do the North Drive at this point, and as time went on, it's the owner's benefit to have it paid. There's no question about it, but it's also, it's a revenue issue. So that's why we didn't show the whole area paved out. But over time, that is something that the owner would like to do. But this time,
I'm assuming, is that like 8-inch thick concrete that you're proposing? It said heavy duty.
yeah, we're using, I think it's 8-inch, yeah, we're using a heavy-duty pavement simply because there's going to be truck traffic going now. There's the companies that are going to be in this are going to be using equipment, they're going to have trucks. It's going to be a masonry restoration, a roofing company. So we didn't want to skip on the concrete. We could have did 4-inch concrete, possibly done both driveways, but we don't want them to crack and fall apart over time either, so.
So what weighted vehicles are you bringing through there?
I'll let you address that.
Everything from 1 tons to semi-tractor trailers.
And the width of those,
It's just standard road width, 8 feet or 6 feet, I'm not even sure.
the width of the vehicles? These-
They're not like wide loads. I don't know what a semi-truck would be, but I think it's about 8 foot.
Yeah, legal width would be 8 feet,
Yeah.
so anything greater would need a special permit to get to the site anyway.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be like that. It would be standard.
And that's why we thought, being that it was a standard, it wasn't going to be wide load, we could afford to take a little bit of space out of the side of the building for the parallel parking.
Yeah, that was my concern, is those parking spaces. I'm assuming you're trying to get more spaces closer to the building. And I saw that email that came through.
Right.
And so that's presumably people are going to be then walking in that path to get to the front of the building to get in, and trucks going on that side. It's pretty narrow there.
It is narrow.
Yeah, so that's concerning, I think, from a planning standpoint, to have required off-street parking spaces tucked in there like that. So that's why I raised that issue under item number 2.
That's not the biggest issue here for us. I mean, if we needed to take those parking spaces out of there, we would, but 11 feet is obviously bigger than 8 feet.
Mhm.
And, and the frequency of travel through there is pretty low. It's not, like there's not to sound funny, because it's on freeway drive, but it's not a freeway obstruction.
For the roofing division, this is overflow for us, so there won't really be people here. The masonry division will operate out of here, and there'll be 5 people that we expect to be in this building. So as we have extra materials, they'll be stored in that other warehouse, maybe outside, on a truck or trailer will get parked outside, but no employees there. So it's really just about 5, maybe 6 people that will be parking here that we need to accommodate.
Can I ask a question? Instead of parking here along this new concrete driveway, if you're help, the people working there, couldn't they park behind and walk through the building to get to your offices? Is there a way to do that?
I mean, obviously, that's an option. There's doors there.
Usually restaurants do that, have the help park out back.
They could. Some people that work strictly in an office would probably want to enter through the office door in front, but.
Or clients, for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a client comes through, but the other option, and I don't know what the procedure would be, we prepared an alternate plan with 4 parking spaces in front of the building, which I have copies of here, but, I know it's not within the setbacks, so I don't know how that would be entertained or not, because this is it's an existing condition, it isn't what I would say ideal. So, I can distribute these, but there's 2 spaces on either side. And, it modifies the landscape slightly.
Do you have a hand so you can see just
Sure.
Big part of your lawn, is that it? Sort of a big part of the lawn.
Yeah, actually, that'd be preferred for us to have it up front.
It'd be nice to have it in front, but it's both
Maybe a little driveway up.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So, the landscape, we still would be re-landscaping in front of the building, provide a feature in the center. We would be able to put 2 parking spaces in, within the setback, but not 20 feet off the setback, which is what it was on.
Which that would require a
Probably a variance.
variance.
That would be a far more palatable solution than what we presented originally. It doesn't fit within the requirements.
Garage doors on?
There are, there's a garage door on both, and that's why on the plan that we submitted, the original plan was no parking zone. If you look at the original drawing here, there's a no parking zone there.
We would love not to be even doing this, but in these rains this spring, the water just walks right in the front door, floods the office. We didn't plan on doing this, but walked in one day and there's that much water. So instead of going with a false start, we see it would be great.
Before we get too far off to it, there's some other comments, let's just get them all out there. Joe, do you want to show yours, or Brian, were you?
I have a couple, just, yeah, one more, but how long has the building been vacant?
We don't know. We bought it April 1st.
April 1st? I think it's been for a while.
It would appear by its condition, it's
Yeah, at least a year, I would imagine. Yeah. The only other item I had then related to again, not knowing the use, the potential for outdoor storage, and I think you've identified that you have some outdoor storage that'll be contemplated.
Sure.
So, that does bring into the use question of, it is general industrial, the zoning, which does allow for outdoor storage. But I believe that it's a conditional use. So I just need to take a look at that, but I think in the code that outdoor storage is a conditional use in this district, which would require a conditional use permit from the planning commission. And I can get that answer as we talk about other things.
Okay.
But again, that was just something that was left because I didn't know the extent of the use.
And that's why we wanted to clarify it with
Yeah, sure.
the response.
Yeah. And I think that you guys clearly want to do the right thing. It's just for the planning commission's sake, we have to kind of work through some of these issues and make sure we issue the right permits and look at all the issues. So. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Joe, do you want to?
Yeah, thanks, Chairman. The only other comment that I had to add, the survey that was submitted with the packet here shows several locations where the existing gravel or asphalt driveways and parking lot encroach over the property lines onto the neighboring properties. Would seem that this would be a good time to try to clean up some of those encroachments, especially if we're going to be redoing at least one driveway and possibly more. So,
Let me ask you a question. Yeah, and that was on the Alta survey, which was part of the purchase of the, was available for purchasing. We saw that right away.
Sure.
But when it's encroaching somebody else's property, how do you go about correcting something on somebody else's property other than, I mean, obviously, a new concrete drive is not going to be poured on somebody else's property. But
Sure. Well, yeah, and that's exactly it. Yes, certainly, any of the areas that we're redoing, we want to make sure that the new driveway obviously is entirely on your property.
Sure.
As far as the other areas are concerned, yeah, you bring up a good point. It seems like you'd be trespassing
Right.
in order to bring that parking lot back onto your own property. Then again, on the other hand, if the parking lot or driveway is over the property line, you'd be trespassing every time you use that driveway. So, I guess, well, I'm not an attorney, but one trespass to correct the situation probably seems like a better way to go than continual trespassing. But,
So I hear what you're saying.
yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, obviously, you put in a new drive, you're not going to encroach that property. We use that
Sure.
survey as a
Yeah.
plan to identify, use the photographs.
There you go, yeah. And really what I want to do is avoid a scenario in which there is an encroachment of an existing driveway or parking lot,
Right.
and then a contractor comes in to replace it or upgrade it to concrete, and many times they simply recreate the footprint that's there. He'd be now installing concrete across the property line. We obviously want to avoid that, and if we can correct some of these other encroachments, now may be the
Let me help
time.
you
So.
with that. I mean, we just had a survey done last week. The site work, the civil work will clearly define dimensions of where the new pavement goes.
Good.
We're not leaving this to just say to a contractor, just come in and pour a new drive.
Sure, yeah, and that'd be great, yeah, and we'd love to administratively review such a site plan,
course.
absolutely. Perfect.
Absolutely. We have every intention of submitting all the documentation for new construction.
Good, that's perfect.
Will your surveyed site plan also identify your outdoor storage area?
It can.
Yeah,
Sure.
okay. Yeah, it needs to show it on here. So we looked at it. It's a permitted use, so that's good
Okay.
in the general industrial district. But it does need to be screened and that sort of thing. So recognize it's an industrial area. But
What is the screening? Is it just a fenced off area? What's the,
well, there's setbacks for the outdoor storage, and again, not knowing where you're planning on putting it on here, that's why you need to identify where it's going to go.
we have to work through that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you I know where it's going,
Okay,
but we can do that.
good.
So
Yeah,
it's
so
not
that'll
hard
need to be
to fence
identified
area.
for plan approval by the planning commission.
Okay.
So as you're programming your outdoor area, document that on your site plan, and that'll, as you said, that'll take you some thinking about where you want to put it exactly.
Sure.
So, but then for the commission's sake, they'll know, and so when they approve the plan, that's the standard you're held to in terms of performance.
So if we document where we want the outdoor storage on the civil drawings, which are going to be submitted for permit, does that need to come back to the planning commission?
Yeah, the planning commission will need to approve that. And you'll want to see section 1169.04 of the plan zoning code.
Okay.
And that,
Would you be willing to let us submit drawings for permit and come back subsequent to that, before we do any outdoor storage, and identify that so we're not slowing down?
that's entirely up to the commission.
I'm not, because my point is the outdoor storage is not, I'm maybe speaking out of turn, but I don't think it's imperative that they have the outdoor storage in operation at this time. I think the main thing is, let's get this building to the point where it can be occupied. And the outdoor storage, we could always submit, as the process, we'll do it, but I just don't want to slow down the process of getting a permit to build out the interior of the office space and, and do the pavement sidewalk.
How much fit out time do you have for the inside?
How much fit out time?
Yeah.
It's probably, I'm gonna say a month.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I don't think that you have building permit approvals you'll need for that.
Sure, yeah, we plan to do that within the next few weeks.
Right,
Submit.
and I'm not administratively in charge of that, but I would think that the city could work with you on your approvals for your interior, so you can get that going. You could do interior work while you're working on your exterior plans to get approved by the planning commission.
The problem is it's flooding out. I mean, we're taking, every time it rains, we're taking water in the front door, so to build out the office is just going to be compromised with the existing condition.
Yeah, that's the reason that I don't want to slow this down. So our plan is in a couple of weeks to be able to, we just got our survey, we're going to do the civil engineering portion of it, along with the interior build-out, submit it for permit. The plan is to get approval for that, and based on this outdoor storage, we would submit that as a separate issue. At this point, let's say there's no outdoor storage, we want to use outdoor storage, we submit again. That's what I propose.
To be honest, we don't even know what, if any, outside storage. At this point, it would be equipment, trucks and trailers, not materials.
And we're telling you about the outdoor storage from the perspective of being forthcoming. We're not trying to hide, like, one day somebody drives by and says, hey, you got outdoor storage. You didn't know that?
Well, before we even actually get into that, you've submitted 2 plans, or which...
Actually, we've only submitted one.
Yeah, but you're indicating that you would prefer this one.
Yeah.
Correct. But we'd have to go for a variance for that.
Correct.
And I don't know what the
Don't worry about
process is here.
that, that's the.
Well, yeah, that changes what we're trying to do here.
Well, let's do this, if I could make a request, let's get it approved without the variance, and we can always come back and get the variance, because the variance would impact, I mean, the grading's not gonna change a whole lot. The civil engineering portion's not gonna change a whole lot to add these 4 parking spaces and modify the landscape.
I mean, once we're approved, we're done with it, so then you can come back with the plan, you have to resubmit and go through the whole thing.
I understand, but we would have to go through getting the variance process, I mean, it's a separate issue. So it'd be a modification of what we're doing here.
Is it likely we would get a variance for something like that, or not really?
Who makes that determination?
We're not really on that, so. Yeah.
And that's part of the Macedonia.
It seems like
Yeah.
It's another committee.
Spaces would be hard to pull out of. They only have 14 feet. So, and most cars are 16 feet. So to be able to make that, and the north 2 spaces, you may be able to get variances for. And the south one.
If we approve this the way it is, then we're approving the parking on the side where that driveway is, and I don't think we
Well,
want
we
to
have,
do that.
yeah, we have, if we were, we're not.
How about egress into the buildings? Like, if we have the employees park in the back, do they need a sidewalk going up to the front, or what if they have a customer parking in the back? It's another concern. You get trucks coming in and out of here. What if you, along the side of the building, did a 4-foot raised walk, curve it up, where the doors are, and have it go down, back up?
Well, I would propose to do an area that's striped off for a walk as opposed to a raised porch walkway. If somebody goes over, says the truck goes over the curve, that 4-inch walk's not going to stop. I mean, practically
There
speaking,
is going to be a marked out walkway.
and neither one would.
The water out of the building is raised.
In all reality, I think they're gonna walk through the building at least for 5 or 6 months, winter months, they're gonna go in the rear door and through the warehouse to get to the office. I don't think they're gonna walk outside.
Sealed wrap or.
Well, okay, so I think, get back to some of the bigger issues, which is, the pavement, where would need to be paved, and then the driveway. Yeah, if you want to pursue this, you would have to, recommend it to BZA, they would have to set a meeting and schedule, and then you come back and you approve it.
Okay.
So, from a time standpoint, maybe we just look at this plan, unless you decide not to.
That's fine.
So right now, okay, so you're planning to pave just the side of the building, the one side, the north side.
Correct.
the south side, leave it as it is, the back, leave it as it is. Do we know, has anybody looked at what the actual required parking is for this building?
Required by city or?
Yeah.
our needs?
Zoning?
Yeah.
I think we covered the amount of parking rear that's required by the zone.
I'm just thinking if, you know, looking at the code that is supposed to be paved, I was thinking, geez, if it only requires X amount of parking spots, maybe we can cut down the paved area. I'm just trying to think outside the box a little bit.
No, I hear what you're saying, I think the financial hardship at this point in time, that's really where this comes down to. I mean, yeah, the owner would say, certainly, to their advantage, they have it all paid.
Well, what he's saying is if we took out 20 feet out of that, we could get it all up here. If we don't need that many parking spaces. Isn't that what you're?
Well, I was trying to just cut down on the paved area if we were gonna
Require
require
the south.
the paved. Well, I wasn't even thinking the south, I was just thinking the lot itself, because this is, Brian,
Maybe behind the building, a little bit, some pavement back there.
all driveway and parking areas shall be hard surface.
So that's a good question. Again, not knowing the use and everything, so how many total square feet of office is there gonna be?
3,500.
So,
Not initially. That's how.
Well, what's your plan build out?
Yeah, so 2/3 of that, roughly 3,500 square feet.
So maybe 2,300 square feet is gonna be office?
My memory is it's closer to 21, but yes.
All right, let's use 21. That's fine.
We could calculate out the occupant load based on how many square feet per
Yeah,
office.
so you need 7 parking spaces,
Yeah.
hard surface.
And the warehouse is a much lower ratio, I have to say, it's like, I don't know, what is it?
Yeah, it's 1 to 800 for
1 to
storage.
800, and these are things, 2,500 on one side.
So you need probably 9 parking spaces about total
Sure.
for the building. The building's 3,500 square feet?
Just under
No.
9,000.
Oh, 9,000. Oh, yeah, so there's more than. So, to the chairman's point, again, not having known the use coming into this, I don't know how many, if this 2, 4, 6, 8, 10,
If what I'm hearing.
20 spaces is correct. 20 spaces is probably just fine.
Yeah.
Then the issue becomes, by code, they have to be hard surfaced. And this commission, unfortunately, doesn't have the ability to waiver that. That's a requirement in the code. It's under 1171-11E. Even for, new occupancy specifically spelled out for new use. The site has to be brought up to current conditions or current requirements of the code. So the number of spaces would have to be identified, and it's fine that you don't put them on the side. I think you're probably better to have them in the back, as long as you're okay having them go through the back of the building, identify that. But they would have to be, according to the code, they'd have to be hard surfaced. And asphalt is fine, but again, I understand you have to take that into account in your budget.
Right.
But that is a requirement. Now, you could go for, request a variance for that, but that's in front of a different group.
So if we configure approximately 12 parking spaces in the back with asphalt parking?
So we'd have to go through probably detail, he's weighing some calculations.
No, we would calculate what the building code requires, what the zoning code requires for parking, so it's specific to the.
Yeah, there is.
So we would calculate out that we would need something. Knowing that this was going to be, thinking this would be able to remain stone, I just showed parts because I didn't calculate that out.
Yeah.
But it certainly
Yeah.
can be, it has to be, in order to get that resolved. So,
I think also, there's no reason this parking can't be brought right up.
I was going to say, we can, yeah.
Yeah, there's probably some creative things you can do back there to reduce the size of that lot. And I think that's kind of as good as there, it's required for all this to be paved, unless you want to go to BZA and request that, and you may or may not, I don't know how they would see it. I mean, the hardships are what they look at, but I don't know how they do it.
Let me ask you this question. If we were to, I'm just gonna throw this out as a thought, we'll figure out how much of this area has to be paved back here for parking, based on what the zoning requires for the parking spaces. We're gonna do this in here. Would it be, I mean, this area here on the south side, if we left that as stone, is that acceptable?
Or can we just close that drive
That's what I
and
think.
discontinue the drive? We don't need the second drive.
That's my,
That might
Do
be,
you have to have a two-way? Like, it seems to me.
Yeah, I think it's blocked.
Or if,
that might be a good question for the fire department. Donald, did they?
if it's a one-way drive and the drive gets blocked, is there a commercial building?
In other words, if that was
Right.
this.
well, even if it wasn't blocked, it was just not, I mean, the point is you could have traffic going in and out of here, parking back there, and not, not consider that a drive, although it is accessible for firefighters.
Yeah, I don't think we need to drive all the way around.
For this.
Plus, the building is fully sprinkled.
It's a fully sprinkled building.
But
It doesn't
it'll-
need to be, but it is.
Well, it will need to be evaluated on use group. It may
Right.
need to be upgraded based on storage.
Yeah, the code, the building code allows, I mean, we could do this without having sprinklers. It was a sprinkled building. It's not a big enough building that requires that, but and for the construction type and so forth. So, yeah, but to your point, it is fully sprinkled. We're gonna keep it fully sprinkled.
So that idea of eliminating the,
South.
I guess, the south drive is appealing, I think, from a planning standpoint, and eliminate the curb cut and just grass that whole area.
Sure.
You have 25 feet, I mean, it's 2 lanes of traffic.
Yeah, Brian, you're exactly right. It's 2 lanes of traffic on the north drive, and oddly enough, to come full circle, if you eliminate and grass the south driveway, that eliminates the largest of the encroachments onto the neighboring property. So, yeah, maybe it's to everyone's advantage.
Okay.
It looks like you probably are gonna need 17 or 18 spaces total by code
Yeah, that's fine.
for the building. Well, as you describe it, about 2,100 square feet office, the remainder, 7,900 square feet roughly warehouse, will be right around 18 spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how you configure those is, as the chairman said, you can get creative and configure them back there to reduce costs. And as far as the stone area, if you're not using it for storage, you're not using it for anything, it can remain stone. It's just a non-conforming condition. If you go to put storage out there and such, then it'll have to be hard surfaced.
Come in with another plan, say, okay, now we want to add the outdoor storage, and then we'll deal with all those issues.
Sure.
As they come up.
Proper setback.
What do you consider outdoor storage? So if
Anything
trucks
that's
are parked
outside.
there, does that count as outdoor storage?
No, I mean, if it, is it trucks that are being stored for
For the occupant?
for the use?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like trucks that aren't in operation, and when we get busy enough, then they go out to their job. They're auxiliary equipment that when you're at full capacity, you need to have them, but 6 months out of the year, they sit unused. I think that's outdoor storage.
Yeah, that's gonna trigger the requirement for the need for hard surface.
So but to your point, if we're not gonna pave this right here, we're parking on this side, we could use some of this as being paved surface for outdoor storage, for the trucks. Although that, I mean, if they're vehicles, they're not materials being stored. I understand. So I don't know how, if that, to me, that doesn't seem like outdoor storage, it just seems like it's a place to park a vehicle. And every 2 months, you can move it 2 inches.
They come and go, your season.
Yeah. Nothing sits there static, so I don't know if the time is what changes it, but, these things are being used, they just aren't 100%.
Used every day.
Right. like a Bobcat, you know, it's on a trailer ready to go to a job, it'll sit for a week and then be gone for a month.
Right.
Yeah,
That's a good
so it's an
example.
accessory parking use to your building, right? To your use.
Sure.
Yeah, so it needs to be paved. Yeah. According to the code. What's it? Any parking.
Needs to be on a hard surface.
You don't need to be, storage or storage.
I understand.
Yeah.
And so you
Really
don't
the-
need to fence it then at that point?
No. So
Only like
the
material-
fencing or screening requirements come more into play when you're storing materials and things outside.
You want that screen.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, if that's,
It has to be big.
right, if you're gonna have an area where you're storing materials used in connection with your use outside, that would have to be in a paved area and screened.
Understood. Okay.
And we won't know the extent of that until you document it onto a plan.
Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from here, are we able to get approval with some notes or some, conditions?
It's tough because there's a lot of what is, we don't even know what the shape and configuration of everything would be. Yeah, I don't want to slow you down,
So let me.
but I also, there's a lot of unknowns that we have to, be guessing on what the plan would be.
Okay.
I have trouble, thinking of what a contingent approval would be. In my mind, I'd really prefer to table it and give you a little bit of time to redo the plan with, getting as creative as you can. If you can get it down to this area or this area, whatever it might be. And also at the same time, thinking through your head, is this important to you? And if it is, do you want to go to the NCA and make an application for variance for that parking spots up front to give you an opportunity?
That's a question.
Sure.
As proposed, if we just keep it with the exception of eliminating this space and making it green space and reclaiming that encroachment, is that acceptable?
He's agreeing to pave it.
Yes.
Being this area?
Yes.
Whatever's required by zoning.
My question is the paving, how does this work here?
Yeah, well, so what pavement do you think you would use back here? Because now
Concrete.
okay.
The match, so the trucks are-
Yes.
If not, they're just going to.
Exactly. Right there.
Yes.
Chairman, if I could interject for a second, as the scope is changing here, it appears it will be paving or installing concrete on a larger portion of this property, which normally triggers stormwater management, some type of detention. Now, it also, on the other hand, it sounds like the south driveway may be eliminated, so you may be going from gravel to grass, which actually works in your favor.
Understood.
Sounds like you have a surveyor and an engineer working on a civil
We
plan.
do. Yeah.
At this point, I think, especially when they get to the administrative submittal that they'll be doing, they should do the appropriate stormwater calculations and find out
Absolutely.
what kind of detention we'll need. There's some pluses and also one minus here, so they'll need to do those calcs.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we understand that.
Perfect.
So what I'm thinking, just as a thought here, is if we were to move forward, knowing that we're going to pave an area back here that's going to have the parking that meets the zoning requirements for parking, we know we're going to eliminate this. We understand you want to see another plan, and we're more than happy to send you another plan that is clean, and then explain what's going on in that regard. And as far as what we would do for storage, what we do for parking up here, that's a separate issue.
Could we have Mr. France, if we approve this administratively, that you would do this new plan administratively and bring it to the city?
Yes.
Can we do that as a contingency, that we pave they're going to pave it, they're going to eliminate the south driveway, and that'd be it. We'd approve it that way. If you wanted to then make parking up front or on the side somewhere, then we'd have to all start over again.
I get it, yes. And
Would you prefer that? That we
I
would
think so.
make it some kind of contingency that we bring a new plan to the city telling us just what you're saying.
Yes, I think
Let's
that's,
say the south driveway is out.
you good with that?
Yes.
So let's eliminate.
I'm not trying to twist your arm, but
Right.
Well, I mean, you know, I want to occupy this building. I mean, at this point, what I'm hearing, I don't know that I'm going to be able to move into this building. We have to find a different building. So I don't know. This could be 6 months before I can occupy it. That's what I'm hearing.
I guess I'm
We wanna
trying
try
to
and
find
keep
that
it
an
moving.
easy way. So if we took this plan here, okayed it, south parking is eliminated, you need a variance for these two spaces, approve everything. Here, in 30 days, you have one pending engineering approval and, any other approvals that we need through the city. But these.
I don't even know if it need to be a contingent plan, more like a plan with amendments that the south drive is eliminated, the back designated parking area is okay.
I think you have a hardship here, and I think you get a variance for 2 spots up here. I think you need those.
I mean, I agree. Yeah.
Personally, I don't think these are equal.
That's a totally.
And then-
So
Come to that meeting.
Yeah,
So-
separate from
let me ask you a
us.
question.
If we approved it with these 2 spots getting a variance, if not, we park in the back.
you can't do what?
We can't approve it for
I think they would
variance.
just need to resubmit, or they can go to the BZA if they choose to for those things like.
It's not going to change anything else that they're doing back here.
That's my point.
No, that's what I'm saying, that's why we don't have to do it. They can come back at any time and get that approved and add that.
In the future.
It's not going to change anything that they're doing back here. So I
Really,
think
my
we-
concern's up here. So if we can't do the work up front, none of this it's all irrelevant. I have to stop
Okay,
the
that's
water.
what I asked before.
Yeah.
Which plan are you presenting? And
When you say
We
stuff
changed the
up
gears
front.
here just in the last second. We had been talking about the original, not this plan, I apologize, I'm thinking about this one. The original plan.
Right.
So this is what I was referring to, I apologize.
Okay, this is what we're trying to approve.
Yes, I'd love to do this, but
Exactly.
yes.
Exactly.
I need.
But you can do that.
I can do that.
Taking this out or
Right.
adding this back here is not going to affect.
Right.
I mean, you'd have to put this back in, obviously, or you could change it around it.
Right, but you're gonna be tearing out landscaping to put in concrete potentially, as
Right.
opposed to holding up a month until they could review potentially and give us a variance.
Do you have a real countdown on the part?
It's probably gonna be this or less.
Yes.
We think this is probably the maximum,
Right.
or it's a little more than
So
this.
the only thing,
So you're
this,
saying
we're
this is
fine with all this over here.
This is two-way traffic.
Here's 25 feet, which is wider than the road.
Wider than the road.
Yeah.
They're proposing a 21.5-foot concrete
Yeah.
road.
So there's-
Oh, okay.
Even with this parking beds?
No, I
They're
think
taking those out.
I think
Taking that out.
Giving
No,
those
so
up.
take out the parking spaces.
So what we'd be approving is this plan without parking here, without the driveway along here, and with
Saved area back
shaded
there.
area back there for whatever the
And we
required
should probably
parking.
no outdoor storage at this time.
So, I don't mean to throw one more thing into this as an issue, but I don't want to forget that eliminating this driveway, we got an overhead door right here.
We can live with that. I mean, it's only, I don't know how many feet wide, it's almost
I
worthless.
think it's 10 feet wide. The driveway.
Try to get in and out of a 10-foot wide driveway with anything into a door. I mean, it's better for air flow maybe, but not for access to it.
I just want to make sure we don't overlook that there is a driveway here.
I
didn't know if
question
truck would pull in
the
here.
logic of that in the first place. Yeah.
No, I didn't understand the logic of how they placed the building on the site in the first place. But it's what it is.
Mm-hmm. That's the next part of too, because we were here when it was. Everybody bring it up to today's change.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Well, up to what you just said, I think you had a good summary. You summarized each part of your comment.
That post indicator valve for the sprinkler system is on the north corner of that building by the drive right here. So that would be a contradiction to trying to include any parking in the
Okay,
front.
so that's something you can't.
Well, they would possibly, it may have to be moved.
Oh, okay.
So
So,
we'll eliminate the parking, that eliminates that problem, right?
Does that eliminate that?
well, I mean, if they don't park in the front, if they're still considering a variance to park in the front,
If that, yeah, if you end up going forward with that plan, you may have to move.
Well, the post indicator valve is out there.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine, I understand.
Good point.
Thank you.
Before we get too far with the approval, if we go with that, did anybody have any comments on the landscaping?
It's a great landscaping plan, designed by a landscape architect.
This would be to here then?
Yeah.
If we don't have any place where to go, why spend on the property?
Right there.
And a question, maybe this, for the building permit is, if they get this plan approved, is there an amount of time before the landscaping has to be installed? Do you know, or Chris, do you know, is there, do they have a year to comply with their?
The permit is good for 1 year.
Okay, so it's possible that, the landscaping could wait a little while, so we're not doing what you just said. All the way right here, you're just dropping another how many thousands of dollars in landscaping you could tear up and have to move out to here. So maybe there's a little bit of leeway on the landscaping in terms of the time. Thanks, Steve, if you could advise that. So, just looking at the landscape, I think roughly it's probably acceptable that you guys see any big problems with it. As far as
I mean, I'd do it a little different, but that's okay. It's their-
If you have some,
I'm sure at some point,
That's
yeah.
that's a
Separate issue.
issue anyhow.
Correct, yes.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a couple other questions.
yes.
My database lists that address as 8821, not 8824, so I need clarification if it's 21 or 24. All of the data that you submitted is 8824. Is that the correct address?
It's listed as 21 on the county website.
Yeah, it's 21 on the county website.
So all
There's
of
no
this,
mailbox, so I don't know.
so all of this data, it should be
88.
listed as 8821 then?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And then, of course, you will need a occupancy inspection.
Oh, yes, yes. Understood.
Okay. Including the sprinkler system?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're working on right now is the build out. At this
Okay.
point, it's
All right.
unoccupiable.
Let's think about making a motion here. Oh, you guys, sorry.
One of the things you're talking about the landscaping and everything, but one thing that stuck in my mind was a comment you made that, you're getting water right underneath the front door or something.
Correct.
How are you gonna address that? You're gonna tell me 5 words or less.
We're gonna have to regrade the front of this.
Okay,
this whole
that's what
set.
I'm getting at, okay. Now, when he's talking about landscaping, that's something you're gonna have to do, I think, pretty quickly, because there's gonna have to be some drainage in there, some piping, something to get that taken care of.
Agreed.
Okay? So that has to be coordinated with your landscaping, I think. Right.
Yeah, I think that, my sense is that we're gonna, whatever we end up, the direction we go, if we get all this build out done and follow the landscape is installed, by then we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not gonna, I don't think you want the landscape to go fall, it's for survival, and sustainability of landscape. Yes. But I understand your point.
So I think, we'll get more. Sorry, John.
Sorry.
Okay. So I think what we're looking at, and we could discuss this here more, is a possible approval or a motion at least to eliminate the south driveway, eliminate the parking on the north side, pave the driveway on the north side, pave the back parking lot. And then no outdoor storage.
Right.
And I think then you are meeting the code, and you're still gonna have to go through all your calculations and all that, and you'll get reviewed with your detailed plan.
Sure.
The city, I don't think we're cutting any corners, I don't think we're doing anything that doesn't meet code, I think, it's just, it is definitely some expense up front, and sorry, that's just the way the code works. Does anybody think anything different in terms of that? I think that's good. Does anybody want to make a motion in terms of that, or you want me to restate that, or?
Make a motion that we approve the plans under the contingency that the South Drive be eliminated, and that the building forward. That the North Drive will not have parking, and will be concrete paved, and the back parking lot will be concrete paved to meet the requirements of the city's parking code.
And no outdoor storage.
And no other storage at this time.
Okay. Are we missing anything?
I think you got it.
Okay, someone a second that?
I'll second it.
All right, any more discussion on that?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
when you say eliminate the south drive, does that also, does your motion also include the apron?
Yes.
Just wanted to clarify. So when the plans come, you'll revise it to eliminate the apron?
Back and go into the street curb.
Any other discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, sorry it was a long way to get there.
Have you seen something from you that identifies what your motions are?
I don't have that. Do you want to sign that, or do you want me
This is the original plan, basically. The ones that they brought with them today, we're not dealing.
Okay, so I'm writing on here, eliminate South Drive,
Eliminate South Drive from street to the back of the building.
South Drive from street to back. Okay,
The North Drive, there's no parking,
no parking.
and concrete pavement of the North Drive and the back parking lot.
In compliance with the code?
In compliance with the code.
Okay.
And no outdoor storage. I think was that it?
Did you say
So it's
eliminate the
approved
parking
with
in the front
those
yard?
contingencies?
Parking lot. Yeah, approved with those contingencies, yeah.
And then we're gonna submit the plan.
Eliminate parking in the front yard or receive a variance. I think you guys included that.
I think we're just not touching because it's not on. It's on that.
Right, yeah, okay.
So, yeah, so I think tomorrow you could probably call the building department and they'll let you know what you got, you know.
No, I have an understanding, I just wanted to be, I was assuming something coming right back to say what was approved.
Yeah, what is the process? Does he get something in writing saying what's approved? Is that?
It's on the, if you call me tomorrow, I can reread to you what we just wrote down, if that's acceptable. I mean,
We'll write it up.
That's fine. Yeah. Are you Susan?
yes,
Okay, I talked to him.
yeah.
Chris, by the way, thanks for your help. Okay.
Thank you. That's good.
All right, next, sorry. Wait, Walmart signage? No one here from Walmart? Let's come back to that.
I'm surprised. Me too. I was a bit. I'm shocked.
Okay, let's the whole thing goes, Mr. Robert? Move on to you, since Walmart's not here. Unless you want to represent Walmart.
Yes.
Organized. All right. Okay, so Mr. Robert and you are. Okay, thank you. Why don't you just, before you give us an overview of what's going on?
I have a piece of property, well, let's just go back to the memorandum that you have. I have no trucks whatsoever in my business, so it's not my trucks, but I have a piece of property for sale. And Mr. Thomas is interested in purchasing that piece of property. And we're here tonight just to get some thoughts as he's going to outline to you what he needs to do or what he wants to do before he purchases the property. And there's no point in doing any kind of engineering or anything on this if it's a flat no. So that's why we're here, and I'm bringing Mr. Thomas along to do it. So I'm willing to ask any questions, and then we'll just let Mr. Thomas talk, and anything I say, I don't want to refer that I'm speaking for Mr. Thomas because I'm not here.
Okay. So the piece of property, it's like the last piece of property at the north end of Freeway Drive before the bend. That's what we're talking about. It's this triangular piece. So why don't you, if you want to explain what the...
Yeah, I'll start with it. My name is Jeff Thomas. I own Thomas Transport, which is 3 buildings down from that property. Don's in my office, check this out all the time. So he works with my safety director really well. Talked to Chris before about some things. So we bought that building back in 2003. We've grown quite a bit since then, and we're just rolling out the doors for everybody. We have about 80 trucks now. About 150 trailers, about 100 employees that runs through there. Last year our payroll was over $5 million for our payrolls. So, and that's what trying to find truck drivers nowadays, which is very hard to do. They're millennials don't want to
Do a lot of it.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Video games are great. So we're going to talk beach similar to Joe was talking about. I'm very good at buying that property. We've been talking for years and years and years. He wanted something to come into the building and and improve that property. At this point, I need to buy it for parking vehicles, parking trailers, parking trucks, and I have a shop in my current place that we built on 11 years ago. We came through the process and did the whole thing. Previous mayor came out, we presented before the board and everything 11 years ago.
So not just playing that phone, just pull up the area.
Yeah, sure. There's a possibility that I can move that shop onto that property at some point in time. Right now, I have no intention of doing that. But as we grow and grow and grow and grow, we're like I said, we're 80, 90 trucks now, I'm not even sure. And we just blow the doors out on the weekend. It's just jammed back in there. So, and I'd really like to be able to buy this property, but there's 2 major questions. The first question is, does there have to be a building built on the property? That's question number 1. Number 2, we're dealing with this last one, does it have to be hard surfaced? Because that'll cost $500,000. So talk about financial hardships. And it's going to be a lot to get it where it needs to be. Stone, gravel, rerun, something like that, to get it where it's good enough surface to be able to drive on it without putting fronts and things like that into the ground. So those are the 2 main questions that we have today. Because obviously, I don't want to go through and purchase this thing before I know what I can actually do with it. So it's important that that's spelled out before we move forward.
I guess for me, I'm glad now I know a little bit of the background. I just seen this plan. I wasn't planning to do something about truck storage. And I didn't know if it was somebody up in Oakwood wants to store some trucks down here. It's good to know that it's...
Yeah, it's its own equipment. We, our business, we don't have owner operators, we're 100%. It's W-2 employees, we pay all workman's comp, we pay insurance, they got a 401k up there, we match at 4%. We pay 60% of their health care, even for families, we take care of our guys.
Where are your trucks right now? Are they on gravel? You have all these trucks you see.
Well, in the back of our lot now, at 9055, we do have 8-inch cement that goes all the way from the top all the way down around to the docks, and there is some gravel and regrinds in the back where we're parked. But I would love to resurface all my parking spaces right now because we're so jammed up. A lot of trucks and weekends parked on the asphalt, and I'm just not going to do that until they aren't doing that.
Some parking the gravel. Some parking the gravel.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of them parked by the docks. Just wherever they can find a spot at this point. We're kind of double parked in, and it's not affecting traffic because it's behind the building. But it's tough for the drivers. Sometimes they're double stacked up, and the guy's got another truck. It'd just be nice to have the space to be able to safely maneuver around the yard.
Okay. Before we get too far, Brian, do you want to go over your comments?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very brief. This obviously relates to the vacant piece of property, Ledge Freeway 271 that we've been talking about. And as the applicant stated, he has a business in the township, a few doors down, desires to park on this vacant property. Really the issue comes down to what's permissible in the zoning code. Unfortunately, this type of a use, like an off-street parking lot basically is what it is not permissible in the zoning code. So it would require a variance application to the Board of Zoning Appeals. This commission unfortunately doesn't have the authority to provide any approval for this type of a use. So with that said, that's one issue. The other, it would require to be paved, and then if there was a request to not have it be paved, same circumstance, it would have to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals
Right.
for approval.
So getting the variance doesn't come from this group, it comes from,
The Board of Zoning
because there's some of
Appeals.
our neighbors up the street, Ohio Transport, I think they call it, they have all around. It's pretty big
About
about
how it came about at the time where we were, they do a renovation and then up to,
which is last year.
They just did that last year.
Maybe they got a
sure that
variance.
they came,
Variance.
we may not be aware of that.
It was on your agenda, it was done in August of last year.
You say you get a variance for no paving, is that what I said? You get a variance for-
That came.
Or maybe they got
requested.
No.
Which one was it?
Ohio Transport. I'll give you a little history of the little story on that.
Where they at, just tell us.
North
Freeway Drive. I was on the planning commission, just like you fellows are sitting here, many, many years ago. We approved that building going in there, it was owned by Wagnitz and some other people at that time. And the conditions were that they did not have a sewer up there, we allowed them to put in a building. And the understanding was at the time that when a sewer got put in up there, they would attach into the sewer. And that hasn't happened. It's being used now as a trucking area, storage area. Trucks come in and go out of that place. They park, maybe a driver sets his car there, he goes out and he comes back 2 days later, gets his truck. And these trucks are coming and going all the time up there. None of that is paved, it's never been paved. A year ago, they came here right before you and asked to consolidate lots to make it bigger, and it was approved. And the minutes are here. Now, you know, this is just a picture of what they had up there trying to get trucks in. And right now, we have pictures that are showing it. It's not screened. They're parking closer than 100 feet to the road. And how are we keeping track? How is the city keeping track of what's happening with these trucks and where this money's coming and where this money's not going? I understand, but here Mr. Thomas has a business in town and a big payroll, and you know what that is bringing to the state by it sitting here.
We just approved a lot consolidation, we didn't approve any.
I know, but that would have been the time to have said, whoa, guys, it's time to pave, just like you said, when you're upgrading these buildings here and everything else, you have to
But
do
that,
it.
they wouldn't have presented anything upgrading the building, if we
When they
would have
brought
known about
this,
it.
the cell phone tower, we told them at that time they had to pay.
Right,
If they did anything there, they.
right, because they came in with construction plans, but we don't have, all we have is a lot consolidation with no construction plan. We wouldn't even know what the building is for, we're just approving a lot, we're not approving anything.
Well, you were approving the consolidation, knowing that all these trucks are sitting there. And Mr. Thomas is only asking to park trucks.
So why don't you get a variance for doing what you want to do? We have to come to,
I guess
can't
that's
come to
the
us.
Well, that's-
question. I guess
That's
that's
the
the question.
That's why we're here.
Well, I guess that's the answer.
So the question is, if Kirk gets the variance on the property, I buy the property, do I get that variance?
Runs with the
I
land.
think so.
That goes to land?
Yeah, it runs with the land.
Okay, before we get too far, okay, Brian, was that was your comment, so basically, it's not permitted, they would need to go to the BZA to be allowed to use for this use,
Mhm.
and it would need to be paved by code unless they.
Or
got
get a variance.
for
Or
Mhm.
variance for that.
that.
Or get a variance.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joe, do you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only other thing to add is if the land becomes developed, paved or gravel or whatever it may be, obviously it's subject to the usual stormwater management requirements for detention and also the requirements for stream or wetland impact. I don't know if there's any streams or wetlands on the property, so.
No, we understand that, and, you know, that would be something that, once we know what we could do, without having a problem, you know, we would do all that. You know, the screenage, you know, we're talking about when we grade it, we bring all the dirt up, mound it up, put a bunch of trees up there so we don't see anything but trees. Right now, you just see an empty field with a bunch of weeds. And we would want to block that out. Plus, keep the privacy of the vehicles back there. You don't want anybody messing around with it.
Pardon me, do you have any comments or any thoughts?
No, I think the power lines go through there.
Well, you can park, you can't build a building on it, I think. You can park. Right.
Easement there.
Right, which makes that, again, and Kurt probably knows this, why he's had a difficult time selling that. It's an odd angle, and, you know, you can't park, you can't build anything underneath those, so it makes it very difficult to sell.
It's blocked off, and you have, if you do get the approval for non-concrete, you keep it solid so that you're not dragging mud on dirt.
Absolutely, and we would do a curtain, we would do a cement curtain for, you know, 15, 20 feet to get inside the gate.
There's all these drives, you can go up and down the freeway drive and go down on Bellevue Road. They don't have any aprons out there to drag stuff out, they've been there, this goes way back in time. And there's no aprons on any of these places.
An answer for who was there?
Well, I understand. I mean, I was sitting here many of those times, and things just haven't changed. And all this is, it's there. And you just recently approved a piece for a used car lot over here. It's not paved in front, and they've got all these used cars sitting there. None of that is paved, and that stuff is sitting there, and it's next to Reineker's.
That's Gino's truck sales.
Gino's truck sales.
Trucks at that front.
And the poor Reineker's, who wants to come to a wedding reception and sit there and see stuff like this? And this is from Gino's, and nothing is paved there, and it was approved by this planning commission.
Mr.
I
Thomas,
understand, I don't know that that's relevant.
would those
right now.
trailers be empty or have
It's
cargo?
okay.
Sorry?
Would those be empty or have cargo?
Yeah.
They
Especially
know.
with the new rule change coming up, the electronic logs is going to be happening in December. It's going to change a lot of things, so we may have to bring freight in for somebody else to come and pick up and take out. That law is going to be a big.
No flammable or
Yeah,
hazardous or
we do
anything?
some paints and primers and things like that.
Well, right, but I mean, as far as a tanker or a trailer with hazardous material?
Right, we do have that material.
Would they be stored up there or
I
would
mean,
you
I
keep
could
it
keep those in my
here?
building, we still have room there, but I could, if that's an
Kind
issue.
of
but we also-
separate what you store up there possibly?
We could. You know, it's one of our big counts is a company that does paint primer for Toyota and Honda, and, you know, we do $1.2 million for that account, so.
What's a Roy?
I know what you're doing. Doing business with it for 25 years.
With the building, with the unit up there at Ohio Transport, how are you controlling those trucks right now, Don, as to what comes and goes out of that place?
I cannot, but I think we had an issue up there a few weeks ago.
Okay, well, that's fine.
We can only act on what we find and what we know.
I understand.
Well, we'd like to go through the process to see where that would go. I mean,
You have a
definitely
good
be
hardship
entering
case
cases for us.
You have a good hardship case, you got an odd lot under a power line, the only thing you could use it for is something like you need.
And then maybe, you may want to go to a little bit of, I know you don't want to start doing all kinds of engineering, but I mean, looking at setbacks to see what all variances you're going to need. I mean, you may, you know, with the shape of this lot, I mean, you may be really starting to
Yeah,
tighten down.
we
what
definitely
you
have to look at
use.
the 100 foot.
We know that, we have to look at that.
Yeah, so I mean, you may have variance for setbacks.
Right.
You know, just the use, the paved parking lot.
Right.
You know, and you're not gonna want a rutted up mess back there, obviously.
No, of course not. I mean, if you come into our building, we keep it as nice as possible. You know, we're cleaning up, we just redid the front, and, you know, the bushes look good, the mulch is just all new, and you know, we grade and put oil down in our back lot, just, you know, that keeps the dust down every year, so the neighbors don't get dust from the trucks coming in and out, you know. Try and be a good neighbor up there.
They help it, had this.
Yeah. They currently do not have any outstanding fire code violations.
Thank you.
To take to the ZBA, that might show what, like, where the entrance would be, what kind of, a little bit of the landscaping.
Sure.
Doesn't have to be something that would be
Yeah,
approved
something-
with something
something
just to give them
simple,
to see
Right.
visual forms, right, of what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
Well, the point of coming here was first, we're not going to jump to the zoning board of appeals when,
If you haven't been here.
if we
first.
haven't been here first.
Right.
So we had to come here, and that's the reason we're here.
Do we recommend the two BZA, or we just table it and then they apply to the BZA, is that? And we don't have to know, you know, probably they need to know before they go there exactly what variances they're asking for. We don't need to know that. Just
Yeah, they're asking for two variances, a use variance for the actual use of the property.
Yeah,
And then they're asking for a variance to the requirement, and there are two different standards, okay? So for the Board of Zoning Appeals' sake, you have a practical difficulty standard, which is the paving,
yeah.
and then you have an unnecessary hardship standard, which is the use. So two different standards by law that you're applying to.
Which would, yeah, decide how you plead your case. Which kind, did you guys get those? What he said?
It was hardship.
Hardship for the.
Practical hardship and,
You have a practical
And then the use
difficulty
variance.
for your paving issue.
right.
And then for
Probably
your
in the ordinance,
use,
isn't it? Is it in the ordinance, they can read it?
I don't know, I was just looking in your Board of Zoning Appeals to see. And then your use question is a unnecessary hardship standard.
So they can read up.
And I'm just taking a look in here to see what the code actually says about those things.
If they determine that they had setback issues, what would that fall under?
That's a practical difficulty.
Practical difficulty as well.
Yeah, so you'd want to know, as the chairman said, sort of flesh out a little bit your plan on what you'd want to do with the property, where you'd want to store things, where the trucks would be, where they'd be stored on the property. If there's variances that are needed for setbacks, you want to just go all at once and do it. So you should be able to yeah, so you don't have to come to this commission first. You can apply directly to the Board of Zoning Appeals in the future if you ever had that issue. You don't need to be denied some right before you can go to the Board of Zoning Appeals according to the code. You can make a direct variance request to them, which is good that that's in here that way. That way you don't, unfortunately you came tonight, but in the future, if you ever had to do that, you don't have to come to the commission first.
But it's good you got
Yeah.
the information right from
Sure.
the expert here.
Okay, well, that was the point of coming here first.
Yeah, we- you know,
I mean, it's good to come here and hear what the commission has to say.
right.
But at the end of the day, the most important thing is getting to the Board of Zoning Appeals, because it is a couple of issues that they can't vary the code. Only the BZA can do that.
When do they meet?
Is it by appointment still, or is it it's roughly once a month?
It's
or
once
is it
a
kind
month,
of-
and if you
Yeah,
call the
it's
office
first
tomorrow, I can
Wednesday
give you
or-
the exact date when you have to have it in by and when the next meeting is.
Well, I'm kind of springboarding off of Kurt's experience here, so, unless he's retired.
With all the responsibility. Yeah, so I mean, it's appropriate to table this at this point, or this is more of a discussion, or is this actually submittal?
It was an actual submittal.
Submittal?
So, I'm not sure what you would approve if it came back here. So if they got a use variance, let's just talk it out. If they got a use variance, the use is approved. If they got a variance for setbacks, that's already approved. And if they got a variance for the hard surface, I'm not sure what you guys are looking at. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're looking at that point.
Landscaping and access.
I mean, the BZA could do all that. Or they could refer it back to planning commission.
Maybe we'll let them do it, reverse back to the meeting.
And I always encourage the Board of Zoning Appeals to not deal with those things because it's just not a function that they're used to dealing with.
Well, then could we, like approving things before we got there?
It's probably best to go to the BZA, have at least some level of a drawing, even if it's by hand, of showing what you're really thinking. And then if you get their approvals there, then maybe take it up a notch and bring it back for our approval. And then, the administration can look at all the drainage and things like that. We can look at access, landscaping.
What would be the best, in their best interest? To table it or to?
Yeah, so that's a good question.
Or
I'd say that you certainly, you have two options. You could table it, but I would encourage you to table it to a date certain. So that way it doesn't get lost on the docket. The better way would probably be just the applicant withdraw his application tonight. You got input from the commission, withdraw your application, and go to the Board of Zoning Appeals. That'd probably be the best way, to be truthful.
Does that sound acceptable? Just pull off table, you've got input, take it to them. It may die with them if you don't get two or three of those approvals. Be the end of it, and it's lingering on our agenda, and there's nothing out there to be able to deny or anything. If you just withdraw that, and if you get your approvals, then come back and see us again.
Okay, then you're asking us to withdraw the application? Is that
Yes.
the proper thing?
Yeah, so the commission's not asking you to withdraw it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
However, you have some choices in front of you. You can withdraw it on your own voluntarily, based on what you've heard tonight, and that way it doesn't get lost sort of on the agenda, or you could ask the commission voluntarily to table it at your request until a date certain. So maybe we table it till the August Planning Commission meeting. Give yourself some time to get through Board of Zoning Appeals and everything that goes with that. And then this commission can put a placeholder on their agenda for this item to come back in August. Those are some things that you could ask them to do, but they can't tell you to withdraw your application.
Okay, well, I think we just need to withdraw it to give time to do it.
Okay, let's do it.
So we'll just redraw it, just withdraw our application. Now, was there money from this application put in escrow sitting here? I was told that there was.
You paid a fee to come to planning.
Well, I also was told that there was money left in escrow, because I asked about
Okay.
all that, because we had no big plans,
Okay.
like all these other plans, and I said, well, money is set in escrow.
Okay. I believe so, if that's what Rachel told you, yes.
Well, that's what she told me, so I'm
Okay.
just saying, is that money going to go towards the application for zoning board of appeals, or
Probably
what's
not.
happening? Are we just losing it?
If I
No, go ahead.
can, it's probably not. So the money that you pay, your fees that you pay to come to the planning commission, there's administrative fees built into
I
that.
understand.
So the processing of the application, those sorts of things. Then there's consultant fees, like myself or the engineer. When we review it, we're outside consultants. We charge the city an agreed upon rate to review
I
things.
understand.
That comes out of those fees. What remains would get refunded to you.
Okay, so then we'll go back and,
Then you reapply, so to the Board of Zoning Appeals, there's no mechanism internally from a governmental accounting standard to transfer that money.
okay.
It'd be a
But the
big faux pas for them to try to do that. So they would have to refund that money, and then you basically just reapply.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
All right, so then we'll do that. And then I have a question for Mr. Franz. I just simply don't understand this memo, and perhaps you could help me right here.
Sure.
It says that part of my business is located in the township, and my other part is in the city. I don't understand that
Well,
at all.
I thought the gentleman here was the applicant who has part of the business in the township, right? The business that you have is in the township?
It's in the city.
Oh, you're in the city?
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize. I thought you were in
No.
part of the, so I thought that business was in the township, and this would be,
We have no, where is the township?
so isn't the municipal line close by there? I guess I'm wrong.
We voted to get out of a township to become a city years ago,
Yeah.
but there is no township.
I just looked on the zoning map and I saw a municipal boundary line, and it looked like you guys were in the township.
There is no township. Macedonia has no township.
Northfield Center, I guess is that a village?
Northfield Village, maybe.
Northfield Village and
Oh.
Northfield Center
Yeah,
Township.
Northfield Center
Yeah.
Township is what I,
So whatever map is going to be available.
yeah,
No,
maybe.
nowhere near Northfield Center Township.
Yeah.
That's okay. I was just curious as to why how my property was in 2 different places, that's all. Okay?
Thanks so much. We'll do.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
a lot, appreciate it, thank you.
The last thing is, do we want to look at the Walmart, or do we want to table it?
Thank you.
I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't.
We can approve, we can approve it, that's it.
Yeah.
Let's pull it up and take a look at it, let's at least discuss it for.
Yeah, I don't know how well that,
All right, so next is the Walmart. Let's try and go through this quickly if we can. Guess it's new signage, replacing pretty much every sign on there. I was a little confused of what they're actually doing.
Subway used to have a sign on the front of that building for the Subway inside, and I don't think that shows on this. And I haven't gone over to look to see if the Subway sign is still on the front of that building.
Okay.
They currently have construction plans for renovations for that.
Okay.
Subway for the building itself.
Whole bunch Brian, you want to go over your comments on this one?
Walmart?
Yeah.
So, well, I guess cut to the chase, I don't see an issue with what's being requested in terms of the amount of square footage. The frontage, obviously, it's a big building. They have about 478 feet of frontage, so they're allowed about 956 square feet roughly of signage, and they're asking for 712. They previously had whatever, 600 square feet,
Okay.
maybe previously, something like that. And they're only increasing the signs at the tire center. It's really kind of odd. I'm not sure why they necessarily need more signs there, but they're increasing some more signs by the tire center. They're not capturing they're showing a sign on the building. I guess maybe it's Subway or there was a bank. I know we had approved a bank sign at one point on the front of the building. Is there a restaurant inside the Subway? Yeah. I know we approved another sign on the front of that building. I think maybe actually it was a bank sign because there was a branch of a bank in there at one point. They're not showing that on their sign plan. Regarding the colors of the sign, the white with the gold spark, I don't see that as an issue on the common sign plan. The signage for Walmart is specifically exempted out of the 1994 common sign plan. It was exempted because all of that was agreed upon before the plan was ever created.
Okay.
So the 94 sign plan actually specifically says Walmart's exempted from it. And I think it's really irrelevant because it substantially complies with the sign plan anyhow. The only issue is the lettering on the front of the building is slightly larger than what the sign plan would allow. It shows 5 feet 6 inches, and the sign plan, if this were subject to the criteria of the sign plan, only allows 5 feet. So it's 6
Okay,
inches.
so that was just if that wasn't anything wrong with what they're doing.
Yeah.
It was part of the plan.
Right, I just wanted to point out that they're substantially in compliance with the sign plan that even if they were subject to it, there wouldn't be significant issues. So I don't see really any reason why at this point that they can't be approved, other than I'm surprised they're not here tonight for such a comprehensive sign plan. Typically, we'd see an applicant, a sign company come and represent them, but
Yeah. This is, yeah, so, you know, looking at it, geez, I mean, the existing pictures compared to the new, big differences I've seen, it says market pharmacy, it's gonna say grocery and pharmacy.
yep.
Um,
And then the tire area.
Tire area was a little different.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna do the new monument sign, is that really any different than what it looks like?
I didn't think they were doing anything to the monument
They
sign.
well, maybe they just showed the existing monument
Yeah.
sign here, maybe they're not actually changing anything.
Yeah.
I guess my thought was if we do approve it, we say it's only the signs shown as planned are the only signs that are permitted on the building, I think. I would say. The signs that are shown on the plan should be the only permitted signs on the building. So if there's a Subway now, and they want to keep it on there, I would say it's not a permitted sign anymore.
Yeah.
Would that be reasonable, or?
I mean, so I do think it's okay if the commission wanted to do that, but because, I mean, they should be here, because there are some questions. Like, I'm wondering where that bank sign is and what's going on with that.
Okay.
The Subway notion. It'd be nice to have a representative here to answer some of those questions. At the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be a problem to approve it. I mean, they certainly are within the allotment for the total area. And I don't see an issue with the white with the gold spark. I mean, it's already there.
Okay. Well, maybe, what do you guys think about tabling and asking them to come in and answer a few questions like that, ask if they've got any additional signs that they want to keep?
Yeah, I wouldn't like to approve something telling them they have to take down the subway sign. Is that what you're kind of suggesting? Well, I don't think I'd do that. Maybe they want it on there, they just didn't show it.
So maybe do we table it and ask them to next?
It might not be, yeah.
Part of the renovation is
They
going to be
usually have a
the
local sign person come in. and
order and pickup
questions
center.
like that.
Okay. Yeah, they may
Usually,
not be,
somewhere.
could be the
Or
case.
and/or the bank.
I think they need to tell us that.
Right.
Yeah.
I say don't come in for less. I have a feeling probably somebody just forgot to show or something came up, because Walmart always has something.
Yeah, but the bank's on the south end.
I'll make a motion.
So,
Go ahead and make a motion to table that. For a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Anyone? Okay, so we'll table it. I think that's the last thing on the agenda. I had a quick question. Chris, just for planning purposes, how much longer do we have here?
I think just tonight.
Just tonight? Oh.
Hey, that's not fair.
Did you resign?
Chris is moving out of the city.
Oh.
So-
Wow.
That's
He
a
has
lot.
no choice.
Yeah, July 3rd.
Next time we see him, we'll be sitting on the other side.
Where are you moving
Out of
to?
that side.
Anywhere good?
Austin Heights.
Oh, but
I heard they have a vacancy on their planning commission.
or you could run for mayor or something.
Well, thanks,
I
Chris.
said, I hear they have a vacancy on their planning commission.
Oh, it's good.
No, I'm kidding, I don't.
I was there a couple months ago. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, thanks, Chris. How long have you been on this one? For a couple
Not
of
very
years?
long, about a year.
About a year?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your
Good
insight.
idea.
Good to have you on.
Yeah.
But I guess, we should look at it. Does the mayor know?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's already looking for somebody, I assume.
It's up for you to.
We're
All right,
hoping you aren't going to move.
You let him know that name?
Who's at Solon's, yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Thanks, Chris, for the year plus that you've been here. All right, anything else? Want to make a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
So again, I apologize, guys. First time in 11 years late for a meeting.
You wrote the word township.
And I wrote the word township.
Two mistakes.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Well, thank you.
Really, I came here last Monday, I come down the hallway, nobody's on it. I look at the planet, I was like, what am I doing here? That's next week.
How long did you sit here before you realized?
What's that?
I didn't make it past it.
No, you know what it is? My dopey kid totaled his car.
Oh, no. Is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine, other than he asked me.